Welcome to News 500. I'm Stephen Allen.
I'm Imran Yusuf.
And these are the headlines.
Tesco ban ISIS, but something that little won't help.
Overtime, overdue.
And Virgin spaceship doesn't go all the way.
A man from Angola who was deported from the UK was heard to be screaming, "You're killing me." He thought they were putting him on a Malaysian Airlines flight.
Elsewhere in aviation news, a Virgin Atlantic flight was forced to turn back after the toilets exploded, sending human excrement and vomit hurtling down the aisles. Ryanair are said to be furious with Virgin for trying to steal their reputation as the world's shittest airline.
And getting the toilet to work on a plane, it's not rocket science. Which is good, because if there's one thing Virgin aren't good at.
After YouTube clips of Wayne Rooney duetting with Ed Sheeran on the song Lego House, the footballer said it was one of his favourite things ever. He said, "I love the way the bricks slot together. Last week I made a helicopter."
David Cameron has refused to pay interest on the $1.7 billion the EU says Britain has until December the 1st to pay. He said, "I can get better rates from Wonga.com.
Meanwhile, the UK has been warned that there will be consequences if they do not pay. Plans have been announced to send Italy around to collect the money. A representative from the Department for Collections and Disposal said, "Hey, don't make this harder than it needs to be, capiche?"
You realise that's not how Italians sound.
It is in the movies.
A depraved psychopathic banker made the headlines in Hong Kong this week, while another one was charged with murdering 2 prostitutes. And now to Stuart Black with a special report.
There's a lot of concerns about voter apathy leading up to the general election next year. The big thing is that 16 to 25-year-olds aren't interested in politics. Not true. Go down to a demonstration or a march, thousands of them. It's a normal process of politics that they're not interested in, but then again, that's fucking everybody, isn't it? If you've got a 17-year-old daughter and she phones you and says, "Oh, can you take question time tonight? This planning application's overrunning." No, get your ass out of there. I don't want you taking minutes with those dicks. I want you taking drugs like me and your father did. Make voting compulsory. Everybody has to vote. Or admittedly, you get some bellends who don't know what they're doing. Give them a none of the above box so they don't have to wipe their ass on the paper as a protest. Some poor counter gets shit on her knitting while she's reminiscing about Wedgie Ben on election night. How about this? Put a trapdoor under every booth in the country. Put a big red button on a sign that says, "Press here for Dapper Laughs tickets." Anyone who presses that, straight down the chute into something like the garbage compactor from Star Wars. Crushes their heads like strawberries. Put Dapper Laughs down there as well so we can say proper moist over and over again. Then you get rid of that demographic from society and there's other bonuses. You know, no more Lads Mags, Ben Sherman, and Jeremy Clarkson might take his own life in the back seat of his Jag, leaving a sad note that simply says, "On that bombshell." Maybe I'm just a dreamer.
Thanks, Stuart, for that report on
Fashion Week.
Could be.
Workers who regularly do overtime should get more holiday pay, which means that 5 million UK workers could be owed back pay after a government ruling. And 5 million primary school teachers would owe the government.
Authorities in Hercules, California have been alerted after an 8-year-old girl arrived home with a dime bag of meth in her Halloween candy. That's what happens when you send your children out dressed as Breaking Bad's Walter White. Some optimistic parents are planning to send their children out next year as Bill Gates.
A legal test case on fetal alcohol syndrome will decide if a child born with serious disabilities caused by their mother's alcohol consumption should be compensated as a victim of crime. Harvey, Princess Jr. and Bunny are already in talks with their lawyers.
At least they get to park nearer to the shops. A French minister has called for British police to be sent to Calais as refugees from Eritrea, Sudan and Syria try to cross the channel to Dover. "It's appalling," said a spokesman. "Crime is rife, conditions squalid and violence commonplace. I don't know why they want to go to Dover anyway."
A 90-year-old man has been jailed for feeding homeless people in Florida. The problem is that once you start feeding them, you only encourage them. That's not a joke. That's the actual reason he was told to stop.
The other reason they were not being fed was to reduce average obesity in the area.
Officers also confiscated a box of donuts. The donuts have not been seen since. An officer at the scene said,
This follows on from a recent case where a man was given a life sentence for feeding homeless people, although to be fair, he was feeding them to his pet dogs.
And now, with the latest whinings on the American elections, we go to Eric McElroy.
He's not Italian, you know.
Hello. Yesterday's midterm election results have proven two things beyond a shadow of a doubt. First off, this is a major win for the Republicans. They now hold both houses of Congress, and they are free to make whatever laws they want, and Obama is in a corner. The second thing from this election is that it is a super major win for the president. He's got the Republicans right where he wants them. They need to compromise or they'll look like they can't govern. So, there you go. It's a very clear result. It's a big win for the Republicans, and it's a massive victory for President Obama. Everyone is very excited about this. I haven't slept in the past 48 hours, and I've also been sleeping a lot. So, I'm gonna get something to eat because I'm very hungry. I'm also not hungry at all because I've just eaten. Back to you, Steve, and that Imran.
Thanks, Eric. Tesco's slashed the price of their TVs made by a company called ISIS. No one wanted to buy a TV where you were afraid to press the big red button.
Oregon has become the third US state to legalize recreational marijuana. Republicans in the city were horrified, but local confectioners welcomed the move.
A man has been arrested in Cornwall on suspicion of preparing an act of terrorism. He was about to put the cream on before the jam. Signs that someone is plotting terrorism include withdrawing from modern society and amassing lots of fertiliser. So that's everyone in Cornwall. Questions still remain unanswered, such as, how do you know if someone is preparing for an act of terrorism? Getting ready to leave the house. Keys? Yep. Wallet? Yep. Anthrax. Honey, have you seen my anthrax?
An Egyptian bus driver who tried to avoid a drugs test by using his wife's urine has been busted after it turned out his wife was pregnant. He really was taking the piss.
China has unveiled an anti-terror laser that is so accurate it can shoot down unmanned drones over a mile away, and if it hits a manned aircraft, it can fix the pilot's eyesight. That's all from News 500. To get your regular fix, subscribe now. This week's news in 500 seconds.
Ish.